Hi everyone. So I'm just jumping on today because I'm just about to get on my interview for the podcast with Dr. Seth Gillihan, who has written a lovely new book called Your Daily Reset, which basically provides 366 different ideas for a daily, brief, actionable mindfulness and CBT habit. So what we're going to talk about today is just why he wrote this book, what are the different techniques that you can utilize, and also talk a bit about his journey to where he is today. I actually had him on the podcast not that long ago, and he spoke about his own depression and his travel back with CBT and other techniques to good health. So as I'm preparing to interview people for the podcast, I always like to sort of get into mindset of whatever it is the topic is that we're trying to discuss. And so I thought what I might talk about today with you is just how do I practice mindfulness? As a psychiatrist, it's certainly something I recommend often, certainly to my patients, but also family and friends if they ask how they can cope with stress. But I'm human like the rest of you, and sometimes I find it really difficult to get into kind of a mindful awareness place. So I thought I would just talk about some of the ways that I do that. So one is just being out here where I live. There are so many big, beautiful trees, and I have a little bird feeder behind me where I put sunflower seeds that the birds love and then you devour in about a day. But I love just sitting out here, listening to the birds singing, watch them sort of fight with each other at the bird feeder. And I also have set up a hummingbird feeder, if you can see it right over here, and very much hoping that I will get some hummingbirds. I've seen a few, mostly when I've been on the phone with my mother when she's visiting, because she just sort of brings joy wherever she goes. So hoping for more hummingbirds. Another thing that I like to do is actually work on a puzzle. I'm working on one right now. It's a pretty tricky one that has a lot of similar colors, but I do find being able to just sit down and put a piece in regularly just feels like it brings my focus, helps me focus that attention, but it's not stressful and it's not exhausting for the mind. It's just a chance for me to kind of zone out a bit and really concentrate on what it is I'm doing, looking for a color, looking for a shape, and I really enjoy that. Another thing I like to think about when I'm trying to be mindful is I wear my great-grandmother's wedding ring, which I'm fortunate enough to have. And I think about her life, which was pretty remarkable. She raised 11 children in a two-room house or shack, I would say, on a farmstead in rural North Dakota. And they all went on to attend college, including my grandmother, who went on to become a teacher. And then the coolest thing ever, a librarian. So library, speaking of that, is another place I like to practice mindfulness. I love to wander the aisles of my local library. Wherever I've lived throughout my training, whether it's New York or LA or where I am now, it's just been that point where I love to go and connect, get my library card, and have a place where I can just go and daydream and walk the aisles and just pick up a book that maybe interests me. Maybe I'll finish it, maybe I won't. But there's a lot less buyer's remorse than going shopping and bringing home clothing for me anyway. So that's something else I really love to do. The librarians there are so knowledgeable, but they also just give me space to wander around and find some books to read. So I don't know if you have any particular mindfulness techniques or strategies that you utilize to kind of bring yourself into your awareness. It can be hard in the day-to-day hectic, trying to get kids ready for school, finishing out the summer, preparing for a Labor Day party, for example. But I think it's really important to just experiment a little bit and see what works for you. Maybe it's something different than mine, or maybe there is some overlap, but I'd love to hear from you. Feel free to leave a comment below, and I really appreciate you listening today. I hope you check out the podcast with Dr. Gillihan. I'll probably have that posted next week or so once I get it edited. All right, thanks, and take care.